So we're officially 2 weeks into WNBA basketball, and I'm just looking over the numbers, and I see that Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers are both in the top 5 assist leaders. And then I think to myself, oh my gosh, what was Caitlin Clark doing through her first 6 games of her rookie season? So I had to crunch the numbers so I could compare the two. Through her first 6 games, Caitlin Clark averaged 16.6 points, 5.5 rebounds, 6.1 assists, 1.1 steals, 1 block, 5.1 turnovers. She was 38% from the floor and 30% from three, and her team's record was 1-5. Paige Bueckers through her first 6 games is averaging 14.7 points, 4.7 rebounds, 6.7 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 2.3 turnovers, and she's 43% from the floor and 33% from deep. Her team record is also 1-5. Paige has the smoother stat line. Caitlin Clark has a higher scoring stat line, but more turnovers. I think that the WNBA is doing a poor job at marketing Paige Bueckers compared to how they marketed Caitlin Clark. They were both #1 picks, but I don't see nowhere near as much publicity for Paige Bueckers as I do Caitlin Clark still to this day. The pro to that is that Paige isn't navigating her rookie season under a microscope. She's kind of slipping below the radar. But as a coach, I had to ask myself, which one of these point guards would I want to lead my team? I think that Caitlin Clark is a generational talent in the women's game off the strength that she's consistently shooting 24 feet threes. Her basketball IQ is beyond her years. The way that she sees the court is advanced. Most of what her learning curve is how to gel with her teammates. For me, one of her weaknesses is her decision making. That's not just some of the passes. I think for the most part, her passes are almost always the right idea. They just don't always connect. In my opinion, her decision making mostly is questionable when it comes to her shots. And I know that is a heavy burden because she's an amazing shooter. So in her mind, she can make it anytime from anywhere. I also throw in her decision making when it comes to bickering with the refs. As a coach and a fan, I just can't stand how she argues with the refs after almost every single call. And it's disruptive to the flow of her game because she'll spend time arguing with the refs when she could get back on defense. And speaking of defense, her defense is one of her weaknesses. But as an offensive minded player and coach, I could live with her defense. We got 4 other players that can make up for it. We can throw in some kind of defense that'll give her some help. I don't mind subbing her out at the end of the game, subbing offense, defense. I don't mind that. When I think about would I add Paige to my team, I think about how level-headed she is. She always takes the right shot. She's really efficient. She plays really good defense. She can hit it from 3. Honestly, anytime Paige shoots from anywhere on the floor, I think that it's going in. I think that Paige is a player that you want in your locker room. She does a good job at standing up for her teammates and for humanity. Everything that Paige does is bigger than basketball. Really, my only gripe with Paige is that to me, she lacks aggression sometimes in big moments. But what we've seen in these last couple of games from Paige shows that she can really turn it on. So I'm giving her grace and I'm giving her time to become that aggressive player. I think about Paige being paired with Enrique, and then I think about Caitlin being paired with Kelsey, and that's also similar. These are 2 very talented, offensively strong guards. Learning how to balance your offensive game with another high volume player is difficult, and they're both having to learn to navigate that. On one end, Paige checking out sometimes when I need her to be aggressive would really blow one of my gaskets. Like, that bothers me. It's like, shoot the ball, Paige. Demand the ball, Paige. That is frustrating. I have coached players that are just so meek. And I'm not saying that Paige is meek, but just not unleashing her full potential would bother me. And I would spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to bring that out of her. But then I think about Caitlin Clark and her whining and how that also blows my gasket. And I'm okay with her not being the best defensive player, but you gonna whine and not play defense? You can't do both. And it just makes me wonder, like, I know this isn't about race, But since it always is about race, I just wonder, has Caitlin Clark ever had a black woman as a as a head coach? Like I wonder, has anyone ever just stepped in to really try to break her from all the complaining and whining that she does? I love the fire. I love the screaming and amping up the crowd. But the flip side of it is that I know that I would have to deal with her arguing with the refs and getting all these texts. And I don't know if I would want to deal with that. It's a really difficult decision. Do I choose Caitlin or do I choose Paige? If it were just about basketball, I would choose Caitlin Clark. But since I know that this game is more than that, I would run with Paige because if I'm coaching Caitlin, they're going to have my job the next year anyway. But what are your thoughts, Hoops Tribe? If you had to build a team with one of these point guards, are you choosing Caitlin Clark or are you choosing Paige Bueckers? Let's talk hoops.